Are you ready to align marketing and sales to make 2021 the best year ever? Welcome to the 2021 Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge, brought to you by VanillaSoft and the Outbound Conference. Each day you will be inspired, equipped, and challenged to take action, to work together to align your sales and marketing efforts to drive new levels of success. You are about to be coached by some of the world's foremost marketing and sales thought leaders. This is going to be practical and fun. So grab a pen and a notepad and get ready to take action as we join our hosts, Daryl Amy and Jim Carr.
Hello and welcome back to a bonus session of the 2021 Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge. Daryl Amy here today with our co-host, none other than Jim Carr. What's going on, Jim?
They're back, as if it wasn't practical enough and fun enough already. So glad that so many of you could join us for the bonus session. Really going to be quite a kick today. So building off of all the things we had in the challenge and with Joey Coleman today.
So just in case you haven't completely aligned your sales and marketing in the last week since the challenge officially ended, we thought we'd come back with more for those of you who need some extra help. And I'm just kidding. Alignment is an ongoing pursuit, and we're always going to work towards being more and more tightly aligned to drive revenue. And at the Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge, the challenge continues. We want to work together to drive revenue. As we've been saying, Jim, we've got to get it done in 2021. And this requires us as sales and marketing people to get in the same room, get on the same page, and work together to drive success.
That's right, Daryl. And as Daryl and I were chatting just this morning, and a Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge has been a thing. It's been a program, a free series that we've been able to bring you. But in real business life, Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge happens every single day.
It is a challenge every single day.
It's a challenge. There's a reason why this resonates with so many people, and they know they need to help solve for this, even if not perfectly, just to get closer in on the same page, going toward the same goal, and keeping track and continuing to improve. So it's a day-to-day challenge that we want to equip you to be able to solve.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who are new on this journey, you heard about our special guest today, Joey Coleman. You've joined a challenge. You've joined a movement of people that are saying, hey, we want to get sales and marketing aligned. We've been using a model. We've been looking at 6 core alignment points. And if you're new to the challenge, or if you've been with us the whole way, I want to refresh you this morning, and we want to get you on the same page with these key alignment points. We talked with Meredith Elliott Powell, one of the world's best strategists. I love Meredith. So excited about her book coming out on Thrive, How to Thrive in Uncertainty. It's going to be fantastic. We looked at that. We looked at ideal client profile, Jim, with none other than our good friend, Mark Hunter.
The sales hunter, who took us through that and had a number of very specific steps. You can make sure that you're going in the right direction to fulfill the strategy that you put together with Meredith's help.
Yep. And we looked at message, and Jim, you brought it. Jim, the science of customer connections, none other than Dr. Carr himself. We talked about getting that message aligned. We spoke with John Langford, a former Disney Institute instructor, about customer experience. We're going to kick that up and take it to the next level and go another layer deeper today with Joey Coleman, who we'll introduce in a few minutes. Then there was technology,
where we had Daryl Prale from VanillaSoft, who not only does he know the technology really well, he's a chief revenue officer. He knows in a very practical way of what works and what doesn't, what fits, where it doesn't, in order to produce revenue, which is why we're here, to solve for that. So that was a very useful session and nice bite-sized pieces from Daryl.
Yeah, and the 6th alignment point was process, sales and marketing process. Can we get on the same page? And so we encourage you, if you haven't looked at those sessions, they're available to everybody. The recordings are there. You got access to those when you signed up for the challenge. You can log in at the Revenue Growth Academy and get access to those recordings. bring your sales and marketing counterparts together. And that's one of the things as we've been listening to the feedback from everybody inside this challenge. A lot of folks came. Maybe it was just you as a marketing leader in your company. Maybe it was you as a sales professional. Maybe it was you as the business owner going, wow, I wish I could get everybody talking to each other. But Jim, this has been the nucleus for us to go, you know what? What if we could help guide and facilitate some of these discussions between sales and marketing? And that's why we're so excited about the Sales and Marketing Alignment Intensive.
Well, we've hoped we've been able to bring you in this series so far is some encouragement, some clarity. Let's break this down. It's not such a big problem that you can't do it and do it in concert with your colleagues, Daryl, as you mentioned. But we're also excited because we've had a lot of people ask us, okay, how? So we just need some simple steps, someone to either I could go through it myself, or if I need something that's a little bit more tailored. So sometimes people might say, and they might be right, I know what works in most businesses, but you don't know this business. You don't know my team or what we have to deal with. We could use a little more guidance and coaching and hand-holding and make sure that we stay on track. So we need something that's a little more tailored. And what we put together are some paths to help you, no matter which side of that you're on. Mm-hmm. If you want to be able to navigate this on your own, or if you'd like a little coaching and support and review and accountability to help you through that process.
Yeah, this is going to be good. The self-paced thing is literally a series of guided meetings on these 6 alignment points where you can get in the room together and work on your plan. And I'm so excited about that. I think that's going to be so helpful to a lot of folks. Speaking of things that are helpful, one of the things that's been so helpful is having our friends at both VanillaSoft and Outbound 2021 backing the 2021 Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge. Outbound is the rock star of sales. It is the show of shows. It is going to be exciting. Both myself and Jim are part of the event this year. And if you want to upskill your team and bring motivation, check this out.
This has been the most trying year for salespeople in the history of sales. There's been nothing like it, and you know that. And so many salespeople who have been working hard to keep their companies alive, to keep jobs alive, to keep the economy alive, are just at a point of exhaustion. You're worn out. And that's exactly why we are investing in Outbound 2021. This is a celebration. We rise up together. We take the next iteration of the economy together, and we're going to celebrate the getting back to normal together. We're going to keep you safe. We're going to put on a rock show of rock shows. This is a great opportunity to get out, to take a break, to celebrate what you've done this year, and to build your skills for the future. You can grab your tickets at outboundconference.com. There are going to be limited because of social distancing and keeping you safe, but don't miss out on the conference of the year, June 15th to 18th in Atlanta, Georgia, Outbound 2021.
That's going to be fantastic. Thanks to our friends at Outbound for extending a special discount to all the challenge participants. Just use the code alignment100 to get $100 off your ticket. And if you want to come live and in person, get them quick, because I know they're going fast. I bet this event's going to sell out, and it's going to be so exciting. All of this, though, the Outbound 2021 is going to be a fantastic experience. I know that is true because I've been a part of it before. And today we want to talk about experience. We want to circle back to what is really, in my opinion, maybe the key alignment point between sales and marketing, when we get in the room and really think about and work on and enhance the experience we provide all the way from the time someone first encounters our company through their whole life cycle of being a customer. Jim, this stat of the day, as we bring this in, we've been looking at some real-time data on this. Look at the difference, Jim. Unpack this for us. This is a little bit shocking and scary. It's kind of a cold glass of water in the face, really.
Yeah, it could be a case study in delusion, but we're not going to go there. But the fact is there's by a factor of about 10, a difference in how well companies think they are in providing that really memorable and engaging experience versus how well they actually are doing. And I think sometimes maybe we fail. We can recognize it as customers, as consumers, but then we think about on the other side, we're more thinking about our processes and our intentions, and we're just not able to put that part together. Our special guest today is someone who really studies it. He approaches it practically by research, with a sense of humor, with experience, and as he talks about Joey, when it comes to customer retention, employee engagement, all these things come together around that experience.
Yeah, so we couldn't think of anyone better to bring to help us apply this concept of customer experience, drive these conversations, and get aligned than none other than Joey Coleman himself. So give a wild, raving virtual welcome to none other than Joey Coleman. Welcome to the 2021 Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Jim. So excited to be here with you two and with everybody who's been participating in the Alignment Challenge, everybody who's joining our live stream today, everybody who's watching on a replay. Thanks so much for inviting me, and I'm excited to chat.
We're going to have fun. I think Jim's word delusional is a pretty good description of the reality, that just that big gap between what companies think they have and what customers actually experience.
It really is. And, I'll unpack that statistic a little further, if I may.
Yeah.
They actually went to the companies that said they were providing a great experience. They went to their customers. So this isn't just a general, hey, 8% of customers on the planet think they're getting great experiences. No, they went to the people who said, yeah, our customers are getting great experiences. And they said, do you think you're getting great experiences? And only 8% said yes. So the numbers and the research that Bain & Company did is really spot on to identify, to Jim's point, this delusion that a lot of organizations are under. We think we're doing a great job. But if we were to ask the people we're hoping to serve, they might have a different assessment. And we see this in all areas of our life. There are plenty of spouses that think they're doing a great job. But if you pull their spouse aside and you ask, hey, are they really doing a great job? It's not 10 out of 10's gold medal scoring,
Present company accepted, I hope.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, totally. Not you guys. But I think at the end of the day, it speaks to this issue that you were talking a little bit about with alignment, and why I was so excited for our conversation today. Customer experience is never finished. Mm-hmm. That's the good news and the bad news. People say to me, Joey, what framework can I put in place? How much money can I invest? When will I know that I'm done? And it's like, you'll know you're done when they close the lid on the casket. Like, that's when you're done. You've got to keep delivering remarkable customer experiences if you want your business to continue to grow and thrive.
Yeah, by the way, and I think those people watching, listening in, watching later, this is dynamite. I say this over and over again, Joe. I mean this sincerely. This is one of my all-time favorite business books. Never Lose a Customer Again. And at the beginning of the book, just to put some context, you shared some more shocking statistics about what you call customer defection. Customer defection is epidemic and rampant. Unpack that for us, because I think this is another glass of cold water maybe we need as we get started here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate the kind words about the book, Daryl. When I was sitting down to write this book, I wanted to figure out, what is the big problem when it comes to customer experience? And I know that so many leaders, whether you're the leader of a division or a team or the CEO or the owner, so many leaders have so many things on their plate. I mean, when we look at the Alignment Challenge, there's 6 different areas that you all are saying we need to be paying attention to. We could pay attention to any one of those and have a lifetime of focus. The reality is, when we dive deeper into this concept of customer experience, what we find is the following. Across all industries around the world, companies that are small, medium, and large, companies that are online or offline, companies that sell products or services, companies that operate domestically or internationally, it's all the same. Somewhere between 20 and 70% of new customers will decide to stop doing business with you before the 100-day anniversary. So in the first 100 days, somewhere between 20 and 70% are going to decide to leave. to not renew, to not give you another dollar. What's even more staggering to me than this statistic, Jim and Daryl, is that the typical business owner has no idea what their percentage is. That's the scary piece of this. It's scary that they're leaving. It's even more scary that we don't know how many are leaving.
But Joey, people don't cancel 30 days after they sign on with us. Our numbers are good.
Yeah, well, it depends on the business, Daryl, right? In some businesses, they are leaving. And we chalk that up to, oh, well, it wasn't a good fit for the beginning, or, they had a budgetary thing that came along that was unexpected. We justify all the excuses.
Right.
The reality is, even those that stay, let's say you're on an annual type program. Let's say somebody buys insurance from you and they're buying insurance for a year. They're not going to re-up for their next insurance program or their insurance policy until a year from now. The research actually shows that they've made the decision on whether they're going to re-up from a year from now in that first 100 days. See, most insurance agents think, well, I'll just call you at month 10 and a half, maybe month 11 and say, hey, time for your annual policy review meeting. Let's get you in and go over things. They've already decided they're gone.
Yeah, Joey, that does go against a lot of what we've been taught or heard over time. Like you say, we tend to think, oh, if they're on some sort of cycle by the calendar, that, people buy and they make the decision, they go on to other things, and they're not going to think about it again until 30 days or 45 days before renewal time. I don't even want to mess with them. I don't want to bother them. I'll just get back on that case. You're suggesting that they made up their mind well in advance of the business review or the renewal date.
Jim, absolutely. And trust me when I say I understand that belief of, well, I don't want to bother them. Let a sleeping dog lie. Let's not mess things up. The reality is that's not the world we operate in anymore. Here in 2021, that is not the relationship they have with the brands they love. For example, Netflix, which a lot of folks subscribe to, continues to put out new content, continues to tease you with new shows and new ideas and put new things in front of you. Why? To keep you engaged. Now they're looking at a renewal potentially every month, or some folks are on a year-long plan for some of the subscription services. I think the secret here is we want to continue to provide value so that we're seen as indispensable. In that insurance example, a lot of folks that operate in insurance, for example, think that, oh, well, you have to have insurance. So I'm the lesser of the evils. And once you've decided to work with me, the cost of changing to someone else is so great that it's easier. It's less painful for you to stay with me than to go somewhere else. And it may have been the case that 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there was some validity and some truth to that. But now, when I can't flip on a TV without seeing a commercial, when I can't watch a live stream without seeing a commercial, when I can't enter my email address into any type of company without receiving emails from other companies promoting these types of offerings, the game has changed. But a lot of businesses are still playing an old philosophy of that game, or they're operating by, kind of these maxims from years past that just don't hold true anymore.
Well, and what really makes me sad about all this, Joey, is the lost revenue potential. And if you think about, I remember being at a tech conference before the pandemic, and Tiffany Bova was there, and Tiffany was talking to a large group of tech executives. Of course, she's at the time was the evangelist for Salesforce, and she said, basically in a nutshell, let me paraphrase, y'all are crazy. Because you go out and you spend every ounce of energy and money, you're to get a new customer, and you're like someone that went to the Klondike and sold everything, moved to California, scraped the ground to find a nugget of gold, and then you high five, ring the bell, and move on to the next deal. But the reality is, our friend Mark Hunter says you don't close a deal, you open a relationship. But much like that neglected marriage analogy you gave us earlier, if we neglect our clients, we're going to miss out on the real gold, which is the opportunity not only to have a long-term relationship, but to cross-sell and upsell and let them enjoy everything that we could bring to them.
Oh, absolutely. And get referrals.
Yes.
And a deeper relationship. Let's just break down two pieces of that. The opportunity to continue to sell to existing clients and the opportunity for referrals. On the existing clients, the research on this is really clear. They looked at businesses around the world, lots of different industries, and they found that the average salesperson, and I know we've got a lot of sales folks that are participating in the Sales and Alignment Challenge, right? So we look at sales purely and we say, what is the likelihood of a salesperson closing a cold prospect? And across all industries, all types of products and services, it averages out to somewhere between 5 and 10%. The average salesperson closes between 5 and 10% of their leads. Now, I know you've got a lot of rock stars participating in your challenge who are like, oh my gosh, Joey, 5%, that, yeah, maybe in my first year, I'm killing it now. I'm at 20%, 25%. Great. Let's even presume it's 20%, even though the research shows it's 5 to 10. Right. Let's presume that it's higher. What is the likelihood of selling to an existing customer? Across all industries, averaged out 60 to 70%. Right. I'll put my 60 to 70% upsell to an existing customer against any salesperson on the planet's new customer close rate, and I'll win every time. Not to mention when you're upselling or you're adding another product or another service, those dollars are more profitable. See, everybody thinks that every dollar in a business is worth the same. No, my friends, it's not. If I'm getting dollars from somebody who's been a customer for years, that we've already got them set up on their systems, we've done our proper onboarding, we know the ins and outs of their operations, they pay their invoices on time, we don't have to chase bills, all of those things, each dollar they continue to spend with us is more profitable than the first dollar. So this isn't just huggy-feely, customer experience makes you feel good, No, this hits the bottom line. Briefly on the concept of referrals, just ask yourself this. When is the last time you became a new customer of something and made a referral to one of your friends or colleagues in the first week? Well, it's probably been a while, if ever. That's not when we make referrals. We don't make referrals when it's new. We make referrals when it's proven true.
That's
when
right.
we know that this is consistently delivered after we've worked with you for a while. If I don't get you past that 100-day anniversary, if I don't establish a foundation in those first 100 days, I miss the opportunity for the referrals. And I don't know about you, Jim and Daryl, maybe you guys have met folks like this. I've yet to meet a business owner who said to me, Joey, I'm good on referrals. Don't need any more. We're happy. No more referrals for us. Right? This is a huge opportunity.
I think so. It's interesting. Of course, right now, as we're recording this, we're the tail part of March. We've got a new administration, a new presidential administration right here in the United States. And when the new president comes on board, what do they look for? What do you do? What have you done in the first 100 days? We expect that out of our presidents. Why wouldn't our clients expect that out of us, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's fascinating, not to get political, look how many people are paying attention to what's happening in the Biden administration in the first 100 days. I saw some people posting on Twitter the other day. They were like, oh my gosh, we haven't accomplished this thing that he was going to do, and it's day 36.
Right.
And I'm thinking, does the guy get a chance to unpack his bags?
Right.
Does he get a chance to actually move in and figure out what the light switches are?
Yeah, the drapes still don't fit.
But here's the reality. Your customers are the same way. Their question is, what have you done for me lately? What are you doing right now to provide value? And that goes back to the conversation Jim and I were having. If we think, oh, get them signed up, get them on auto subscribe, and then just back away and be quiet, that doesn't work. We got to be continuing to deliver value throughout the duration of the relationship, not just, on the day we close the deal.
If I remember history correctly, and I may not, but I believe it was Franklin Roosevelt who first put forward the first 100 days, because it was a time of great upheaval and great anxiety when he came in. But if you think about consumers' expectations and our attention spans between the 1930s and today, right. So why wouldn't we have people who are saying, well, it's day 36?
Oh, 100%. You're spot on. And it was FDR. And here's the crazy thing. A lot of businesses are operating decades in the past.
Ooh.
They're operating decades in the past in terms of their technology, in terms of their processes, in terms of their strategies. They claim to be cutting edge, but let's be candid. If you're actually cutting edge, there's blood on the ground. And most businesses aren't doing that. Most businesses aren't innovating. They're not pushing the envelope. They're not really leaning out over their skis. Instead, they're saying, well, I've read 5 business books on this topic now. Maybe I should start to do the smallest little step. That's fine, but that's not going to get you to still be in business a decade from now. The world is moving faster. We've got to get into it. And that's why I love this idea of alignment. Alignment is, to me, is about getting all the pieces funneling together so that we actually build momentum and energy and we can keep moving forward.
All right. Well, that brings us to how do we do this, Joey? What do we do in the first 100 days? I'm pretty sure you've got some answers. And I actually know the answers begin with the letter A, which just makes my alliteration heart so happy. So for those listening in that are now squirming in their chairs after about 15 minutes of cold glass of water in the face after cold glass, get a towel. And now let's talk about what do we do? Like, where do you begin this journey of improving your customer experience in the first 100 days?
Well, Daryl, I think the trick here is to recognize that you have a customer journey that you probably haven't given a ton of thought to compared to how much you cared about it in the beginning. See, in the beginning, when we start our businesses, we have 1, maybe 2 customers. We hold them very carefully. We're well aware of where they are in the process. We're communicating. We know what comes next. We're right with them every step along the way. The problem is our businesses grow as they develop. We get a little distanced from that. We're bringing in more customers. We don't have the time to hold the hand of everyone as we go. And so what I did is I looked at the best businesses in the world when it came to retention. And I looked at that structures for customer journeys and how to maximize lifetime value. And what I created was an 8-step framework. And as you alluded to, all of the steps in this framework start with the letter A. And the idea behind that is if you're getting all of them right, it's like getting straight A's on your report card, but the report card's coming from your customers, right? So let me, with your permission, give you a fire hose version of all 8, because we could spend weeks on any one of these phases, but I want to give us just a quick overview of the 8 phases. So the first phase 1 is the assess phase. This is when a prospect is deciding whether or not they want to do business with you. In common parlance, we call this marketing and sales. The second phase is the admit phase, where the prospect admits that they have a problem or a need that they believe you can help them out with. They sign on the dotted line, they hand over their hard-earned cash, they transition from being a prospect to being a customer. Now, most businesses pay attention to that part. They do the marketing and then they do the sale and boom, now we're good, right? No, friends, we're 2 phases into the 8 phases of the journey. You're not done. We're just getting started, because immediately after the admit phase comes phase 3, the affirm phase. In common parlance, we call this buyer's remorse. This is when the brand new customer begins to doubt the decision that they just made to do business with you. Now, here's the crazy thing. Everybody watching live or watching on the replay has probably heard of the phrase buyer's remorse. But if I ask you, do you have a system and a process in your business designed to address the buyer's remorse that scientifically every one of your customers is going to experience? Most businesses don't. So huge opportunity there in the affirm phase. We then come to phase 4, the activate phase. I call this the activate phase because I want you to energize the relationship. This is the unboxing moment when they received your product, they pull it out of the box and they start to use it for the first time. Or the kickoff meeting, or the initial time you come to their house or to their office to deliver on your service. This is the first real moment of truth. And in the activate phase, not only do we want to energize the relationship, but we want to show this new customer that doing business with us is going to be unlike any business experience they have ever had. We then come to phase 5, the acclimate phase. I alluded to this earlier when I talked about holding your customer's hand. See, you've delivered your product or service hundreds of times, thousands of times, tens of thousands of times. But to a brand new customer, they don't know what it's like to do business with you. They don't know what comes next. You've got to hold their hand and help them along. Now, some of you in the product space may say, Joey, that's why we have an instructions booklet. We give them the directions on how to use our product. Friends, you get new products all the time that you never even open the instructions booklet, let alone actually read it. Or some people in the services industries might say, well, Joey, that's why we have a proposal and a contract. It details all the steps in our process. You sign things that you don't read all the time. Why do we think our customers are behaving any differently than we do as humans? They're humans too. So in this phase of acclimate, we want to hold our customers' hands so that we can get them to the next phase, phase 6, the accomplish phase. Now in this phase, our customer accomplishes the goal that they had when they originally decided to do business with us back as a prospect. See, every prospect has a dream that your product or your service is going to help them achieve. And if we don't pay attention to what that is and track it throughout the relationship so that we can celebrate with them when they do achieve it, they're not going to celebrate the accomplishment themselves. And if they don't celebrate their own accomplishment and acknowledge their accomplishment, you have no hope of getting them to phase 7, the adopt phase. In the adopt phase, our customer becomes loyal to us and only us. They're not going anywhere else. They're happy to buy any product or service that we might put forth. And last but not least, the holy grail, phase 8, the advocate phase, where the customer becomes a raving fan, singing our praises far and wide, referring new business to us, bringing new clients to us. We can't hope to get to the advocate phase if we haven't walked the customer through the previous 7 phases. So in a nutshell, those are the 8 phases of the customer journey as I see it.
It's so good to just break that down to those levels and think, because as you're going through, maybe it's hard for us to think about our own business in that context, but we can think about businesses that we've worked with, things that we've bought, and I can see, every stage of the journey. So I'm curious, though, Joey, like, this is a continuous process to optimize this for sure. And I think the first thing maybe someone should do as a company is get together and commit to continuing to work on this process. But I'm curious, for those teams that are committed to working on the process, where's either the low-hanging fruit, or where's the biggest stink that needs to be cleaned up in most of the organizations that you've seen?
Yeah, well, as you might imagine, Daryl, it's very organization by organization, industry by industry. But 2 things that I see as common themes. Number 1, what you need to do first. And number 2, which phases kind of light up as problem areas most often. The first thing you need to do is map your existing journey. You need to look at what your current journey is, because lots of times we've gotten so far removed from the journey, or that's Frank's job over in his department, that we've lost track of the fact that the customer is continuing to move through. We keep handing them off to other divisions, to other groups that are operating. And much like in the Olympics, if that baton handoff gets dropped, I don't know if you guys know, in the Olympics, you don't get to pick it up and keep running. No, you're disqualified. That's the end of your race. The same holds true in business. We fumble around and we try to pick it up and, let's get a VP on the phone with them and see if we can smooth things over. It's like, no, we've been disqualified. That's it. We've lost it. Let's do better next time. So the first thing we need to do is map. Now, specifically to address your question of what phases seem to have the biggest issues, in many ways, there are 2 phases that right out of the blocks cause a lot of businesses problems. The first one is that affirm phase we talked about, that buyer's remorse stage, where most businesses, to the conversation Jim and I were having earlier, just go, well, let's be quiet. They signed up. We've processed their payment. We've got their kickoff meeting in 2 weeks. Don't disturb them. Let it go. Well, during that time, they're doubting the decision they just made. We're high-fiving, ringing bells. Somebody won a trip to Napa. Meanwhile, at our customer's office, they're saying, what if this doesn't work out? Will we be able to get our money back? We'll never get this time back. Will I get fired because I'm the one that chose this vendor? Because now you become a vendor, not the strategic partner you were hoping to be. Right? It's a nightmare. The other phase that's a huge problem is that acclimate phase, because so many businesses think, hey, once we've started the project or once we've delivered the product, we're good. They'll figure it out. No, no, no. This is where we need to double down. In almost every business on the planet, the acclimate phase is that period between about 10 days and about 80 days when they're actually learning how to use your product or your service. That's the important time. Friends, I'm not asking you to create remarkable experiences for every customer every day of the relationship. I just want you to build a foundation in these first 100 days. I want you to make the deposits in the karmic bank account now so that when things go wrong in the future, and oh, by the way, they will go wrong, you've built up some goodwill. You've built a foundation for the depth of interaction and relationship and remarkable experiences that you can kind of make some withdrawals against the deposits you've already made in order to keep that relationship going.
Joey, I want to pose a question here. As you mentioned, there may be several points along the way where the baton tumbles to the ground as the crowd gasps and things go wrong. But with a lot of services, the use of them goes on for a period of time. And we also hear from a lot of people like, your opportunity to build goodwill, to build experience, to build raving fans is how you respond to problems. Sure. Along the way when things inevitably go wrong. Does that seem to fit in that acclimate phase a bit? And does the process of acclimation sometimes take a while itself if people are adjusting along the way? So could you talk a little bit about that? Because I think particularly in times like these, when people have less visibility in processes, they can't experience things maybe in the same way that they could have. That's both a challenge uniquely, but a big opportunity too.
Absolutely, Jim. No, I think you're spot on. I mean, here's the thing. When we look at that acclimate phase, lots of times that's where we're starting to have a phase that lasts longer than a day or two. So as a result, the opportunity for things to go wrong is increased just based on the fact that it's a longer time period, not because of anything you're doing or not doing. You know, if I need to wow you for an hour, versus I need to wow you for the next year, the year's harder because I got to keep coming to the table and keep doing things. Now, you mentioned this idea of when things go wrong, what do? You're absolutely right. The opportunity to take a problem and make it better is a huge missed opportunity in most businesses. My buddy Clay A. Bear and I came up with this concept called carpe defect. Okay, it's Latin for seize the problem. Take the problem, turn your mistakes into your marketing, turn the dropped baton into the gold medal rescued conversation, because how you respond when things goes wrong says more about you actually than how you behave when things are going right. We all know this from our lives, right? Somebody may seem fine and dandy and everything is good and going well, and then suddenly things start to go wrong and we get to see who they really are. We get to see how they perform under stress or when they're faced with challenges. And if 2020 in the last year has taught us anything, it's that a lot of the people that we thought were holding it all together actually weren't. And that's not a criticism. This has been a tremendously trying period for all of humanity. But if anything, I've seen it as a reinforcement of our need to embrace humanity, of our need to be human. And when things go wrong, say, hey, I dropped the ball. I was supposed to do this and I didn't. I'm sorry. Let's talk about what I can do to make it right. Instead of what we normally do, which is either blaming it on someone else. Well, you know, that was actually Sally over in accounting that made the mistake on your invoice. Don't worry, I'll correct it. Stop throwing your colleagues under the bus and instead say, hey, we did something wrong. We're going to fix it. We're going to make it better. And that changes the conversation. In my experience, most humans are totally okay with mistakes. Mm-hmm. What they're not okay with is you pretending that a mistake isn't a mistake.
Yes.
You acting like, oh no, everything's fine. It's like, no, just own your stuff. Just say, hey, this didn't work out the way it was supposed to. We're committed to making it better. We have some ideas of what to do. But before we share our ideas, can we ask you, what would you like to see happen? Mm-hmm. That's how we lead with empathy before we provide solutions. Lead with the empathy that acknowledges the situation we're in. Be ready to come to the table with ideas for how to make it better, but
Mhm.
don't just jump right into that. Again, not to make this about relationships with our partners or our spouse or our loved ones, but almost every relationship I know has someone in the relationship who specializes in, when things going wrong, saying, I'll fix it. Here's what we can do. And that usually doesn't work. The person just wants to be heard. Your customers are exactly the same way.
So fun. Staying with the relationship analogy, and I didn't realize we're going to have this is a multi-purpose
Exactly. It helps
episode.
you with your sales and marketing. It'll help you when you get home from work today, going
right.
into the weekend as
It's a
well.
therapy session, no additional charge.
You think of, you get to any type of marriage training, you hear about the love bank, right? And you need to make deposits in the love bank. So those times when you make a withdrawal, you don't go negative on the balance. And I think that what I like about the first 100-day concept here is you've got an opportunity to actually make a lot of deposits in the relationship so that if you're intentional in the first 100 days, you've built goodwill. I was thinking, Joey, I'm an Apple fanatic. I love the company. I've followed Steve Jobs' career. I was Apple before everyone thought it was cool, and I was in line for all the products. Yet, just 2 weeks ago, so this is after 14 years of great experiences, as you talk about in the book, receiving products that are fully charged, ready to use, beautiful unboxing, all that stuff. I went to the Apple store with my wife, who wanted to get a new iPad to replace her broken iPad. And it was a dystopian experience. It was not good. Let me just put it that way. It was dark and rainy, and there was a security guard and a tent, and the Apple store had been replaced with kiosks, and it was weird. It wasn't what you expected. However, as disappointing as that was, it was a small withdrawal in the overall. And I know they were making accommodations for the frustrations that we're in right now. But this is, it's interesting because if you think about the companies that went into the pandemic with intentionally good customer experience, I bet when the dust settles and we look back, those companies are going to have been more successful than the ones that didn't have equity with their customers. Would you agree?
Daryl, I would agree 100%. The reality is that those companies that have treated their customers and their employees well during this pandemic will have customers and employees after this pandemic.
Uh-huh.
Those who didn't treat them well, the customer or the employee might have stayed, but let me tell you, as soon as the sun comes out again, as soon as we can leave our homes again, as soon as we start to feel things shifting back to what we experienced before, those folks are going to be looking. In fact, they're probably already looking. They're going to be leaving. And that's the reality. And, there's a part of me that feels sad for those companies, and those organizations, but there's also a part of me that says when you don't prioritize your customers, when you don't prioritize your employees, there's a consequence. And if you doubt the validity of that statement, I ask you just to consider how many of your current customers or current employees used to be with another organization that didn't prioritize them.
Yeah.
So they came to work with you. And it's like this is the cycle of life. If you want people to stay, whether that's a customer or an employee, you've got to be delivering those kinds of remarkable experiences.
Joey, I'd like to get in at least one point that I know, because we have a diversity in our listeners and our viewers. We know by the size of the company. So we've got some smaller entrepreneurial growth companies, and we've got some big enterprises as well. I've heard you speak recently about examples ranging from big company like Lego, who is providing things like soundtracks to you can listen to while you're assembling and giving you different parts of the experience. I also heard you talk about a sea salt company, I think from San Juan Valley, by virtue of their website and little stories and that they deliver with their packaging. So the question is, there's not necessarily a lot of dollar signs that are associated with doing the things that you talk about. There are areas here that could work for just a range of people and organizations, right?
Jim, 100%. to my podcast, The Experience This Show, where I talk about some of those examples, but you are spot on. So many businesses, whether they're small, medium, or large, look at customer experience and they say, oh, if we had the time and we had the money. Friends, you got to make the time, and it doesn't take a lot of money. In fact, if I were to ask you to make a list of the 10 best gifts you ever received in any context, in any setting, and you were to write out that list of the 10 best gifts, and then we were to assign the dollar value of each of those gifts, somewhere around 8 or 9 of them would have been less than $50. It's not about the amount of money. It's about the thoughtfulness of the exchange. So when we think about creating experiences, I'm not saying you've got to throw a ton of money at them. But what I do find fascinating is we think nothing of spending a boatload of money to get customers in the door. We think nothing of ramping up our marketing budget or doing a campaign that's going to cost us a lot of money that may or may not work out. But suddenly when I say, hey, let's take some of the revenue that's coming in from this customer and feed it back to the customer in terms of strategic appreciation, that is gifting or the type of interactions that are designed to appreciate the depth of this relationship and further it going forward. Suddenly everybody's like, well, I don't know if we've got the money for that, Joey. Are you kidding me? You're right. You don't have the money for it. And when you're out of business in 3 years, I'm going to be in a place to kind of say, I told you so. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I'm going to feel like saying I told you so, right? So I think there's a huge opportunity here, Jim. I think the most powerful tool that every business on the planet can use that costs less than $2 per customer is the handwritten personalized thank you note. Now, some of you are saying, but Joey, we've got this cool CRM technology. We've got these automated texting tools. We've got AI reading the emails to figure out the sentiment analysis of what people want. You know what people want? People want to believe that they matter.
That's right.
People want to believe that they have value on the planet. And one great way to show them? To actually write it down and send it to them in the mail. That's how you do it. It's not rocket science here, friends. It's that simple. And here's the kicker. We've all heard write thank you notes. When's the last time you wrote one? A week ago? A month ago? You're struggling to remember? Make it a habit. If I were to ask you, when's the last time you did a sales call? Most of the people watching would be like, yesterday, earlier this morning before I logged on. Oh, I've done 5 this week. I've got 10 scheduled for next week. How much time do you have scheduled to say thank you to your existing customers? Oh, shoot, Joey, that's not on my calendar. Yeah, I know it's not. Let's put it there.
Yeah, wow. Joey, this is a fun conversation. I've got one last question. I'll put you on the spot. Who is crushing it right now in customer experience in 2020? Where have you seen some great examples of just...
Yeah. I've seen some incredible. I have the pleasure, Daryl, as you know, of working with a lot of individual companies that are just doing an amazing job. And let me tell a brief story about a company that, in full disclosure, I've worked with in the past. But this little thing they did, I had no idea they were going to do it until I received it. Okay, so there's a company called Yokoco that builds websites. Right? They build websites, they build apps. They're basically a digital marketing agency. And they also do hosting. So they host websites. They host my website. They host the website for my podcast, this type of thing. And so I have an ongoing relationship with them. Back in January, on the 3rd Monday in January, I got an email from the CEO, and it was a video, and it said, I made this little video for you. And I clicked play and I watched the video. And the CEO said, I don't know if you're aware, but today is Blue Monday. Psychologists, therapists will tell us that this is the most depressing day of the year. It's the 3rd Monday in January. It's cold. The holidays are over. People are feeling a sense of disconnection from their friends, from their loved ones. And that's in a regular year. Make that January of 2021, when we're on the heels of a pandemic and everything that's been happening. It's an even worse situation. So to help make your day a little better, we'd like to send you a gift, and you get to choose what gift it is. We'll either send you a plant to help brighten your office, brighten your home, give a little clean air to your space. We'll send you this amazing coffee that we've come across, and or this amazing tea. If you're more of a tea drinker, you can choose which one you want. We'll send you some incredible chocolate if you want to choose the chocolate that we found and they told the story of the chocolate and why it's great. Or we've gone to all of our employees and we've asked them to share their favorite nonfiction book and their favorite fiction book. Here's the list. You can pick any one of these books and we'll send it to you for a little light reading. Oh, and by the way, if you're the kind of person that feels that this is too much that you don't want a gift, enter the name and address of the person that you think should get a gift this Blue Monday, and we'll send the gift directly to them from you. That's showing empathy. That's building connection. That's making an investment in your existing customer relationships that lets them know that you actually care about them as individuals, not just as revenue sources.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Remarkable.
And this is, see, what I love about all of this is working on customer experience is fun. It's a joy. You can be creative.
Yes.
It's not, spreadsheets and, a grind. You can actually go in and have a good time doing this. And that's why I think it's not only one of the most important alignment points because of the effectiveness of it and the importance, but it's also a great alignment point because it's so much fun. And we had one of my companies just a brainstorming session just this last week about our onboarding experience and how to improve it. And we were laughing. We were sharing stuff we were finding on Amazon and on the web. We could send them this. And it was one of the most enjoyable meetings of my entire week. And so I like that for sales and marketing alignment because we can get in the room and instead of pointing fingers at each other and arms folded, grumbling, we could actually go, what could we do to make this incredible? And I love it, Joey. All of this has been so much fun. On behalf of everybody in the Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge that's here live and watching in later, just a huge thank you for sharing your joy and your ideas with us today. As we wrap up, parting words of wisdom.
Yeah.
One more thing. Two more things.
I see that Melinda submitted a question. I want to make sure we address that one real quick. Melinda asked, the challenge in this moment is figuring out where to send the thank you note. Most of our clients are working from home now and aren't willing to share their addresses. Here's the interesting thing. Are they really not willing to share their addresses? Or do you presume they're not willing to share their addresses? Now, Melinda, I don't know, and I don't mean to make that a challenge of you. I'm talking about the clients that I've talked to who are like, oh, but they're at home. They're not going to give me their home address. Here's how they will. You send them a little email that you said, hey, I have something in my hands that makes me think of you. I would love to send it to you with your permission. Could you give me the best address where if I was to put something in the post, it could make its way to you? You notice I didn't ask for their home address or work address. They get to choose their own adventure for an address. I think you will be surprised how many people will actually give you their address. And then when you actually send them something, they will be blown away. Because when is the last time someone you did business with sent you something that you actually appreciated? Like they might have sent you a coffee mug with their darn logo on it that you're like, oh, great, another coffee mug for Goodwill. Thanks for adding another trip to my day to go give this away because I have 7,000 coffee mugs with logos from companies that I barely know, for example, right? So here's the thing, final parting thoughts, and Melinda, I'm glad that addressed it. Final parting thoughts. There is a better opportunity in 2021 to experiment with your crazy wild idea for a fun customer experience than in any other time in your business career to date. Why? Because after the last year, all bets are off. Everything is up in the air. Even though we have a little more certainty today than we probably did last year at this time, we've still got a lot of uncertainty. The leash is really long. The opportunity for you to try a new thing, to experiment, to have you give an idea and it fails. It's okay. You have more permission now than you've ever had. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to use it? Or are you going to wake up 2 years from now and realize that your opportunity to really move the dial, to really change the way your organization approached customer experience, to really do something fun and creative, to re-energize your organization and move you forward into this crazy era we're living in, was a missed opportunity. I hope you take the chance. I hope you experiment. I hope you have some fun.
Joey, wow, thank you. And just on behalf of the Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge, I'd like to present you with this Revenue Growth Engine coffee mug.
Yes.
As a token of our
So kind.
I have a spare backdrop with my logo on it. How about I send that to you?
This has been a
Crazy,
blast.
right? It's crazy, right?
It's so funny.
And to be clear, if there's anybody in the promotional products industry watching this, I'm not anti-promotional products. I was a promotional products distributor for many years. It's just that's not a gift.
Right.
It's a marketing tool. It's a promotional tool. That's fine. Stop deluding yourself to say that it's a gift or a present for your
Right.
customers. It's not. It's a present for you. And that's okay. Just know what we're dealing with.
So fun. Joey, thank you so much. And just on behalf of everybody in the challenge, we appreciate you sharing your wisdom and your humor with us today. It's been a total blast.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Jim. I so appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who joined us live. Thanks, Melinda, for your question. Thanks to everybody who's watching in a replay. And I hope you continue to align your sales and marketing, because let's be candid. If you get these things aligned, your business will do better. You'll have the energy to move forward, and you'll be able to take your employees and your customers with you.
So good. Thank you, Joey. Wow. Jim, what a bonus. I mean, talk about a bonus session. So much inspiration and so many great ideas in today's conversation with Joey. I'm inspired, and Jim, it makes me want to send you a coffee mug and just say thank you.
Go ahead. I'll send you some of my stuff as well. No, I think it was, we promised in the intro for this entire series, and it was in the intro here again today, there's something that's both practical and fun.
That's
and
right.
I think Joey Coleman really embodies that. And I come out of this, and every time I talk to someone like Joey, energized and with a few ideas, it's like, let's go try this.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the spirit that we want to talk about for the entire series.
That's right.
Aligning marketing and sales with an eye toward revenue growth, relationship growth, bringing more fun and bringing more success into what you're doing. It is time to actually take those ideas and this energy and these great intentions and do something with them.
That's exactly right. And if you are wanting a track to go down and a guide to get you in motion on alignment, go to intensive.2021alignmentchallenge.com right now. This is going to be a guided session. You have a self-paced option, or if you want some help, we'll coach you through this. Either way, you've got some options. The most important thing, I think as Joey said, is right now, this is the time. This is the favorable moment. And tomorrow is not the time for this. It's right now. We've got to get it done in 2021. And at the Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge, we have been aiming at just getting on the same page, getting in the same room, starting the conversation, but not just talking about it, taking action. And we want to challenge you. This isn't a webinar. This isn't some thing you come to and just put the binder on the shelf and don't do anything. We want to challenge you. Do something. Get with your sales and your marketing counterparts, and let's work together to drive success. Jim, I'm just fired up right now, and I just want to go get at it.
Let's get at it. There are a few resources that are here. Obviously, again, if you're looking at things, looking at some of the replays, we want to keep in touch with you. We want you to keep in touch with us. Let us know how you're doing. We have a LinkedIn group. If you're not part of it already, come on in there. That will stay active for a while because we're going to learn from one another. And again, if you can plug into that intensive, either guiding yourself through it, or if we can help you and your team and coach you and guide you and keep keep everybody accountable, keep things on track, we would love to help out in that way. Lots of resources in this new community, but we really want you to take those steps, and momentum's going to be in one way or the other, right, Daryl? You can't stand still. You're either regressing, as we've learned that misalignment actually leads to revenue decline, then better alignment leads to smart revenue increases. There is no standing pat. It's just deciding which direction you feel comfortable in going.
That's right. So let's commit to move up and to the right, to grow revenue and grow revenue together. Thanks for joining us today on this bonus session of the 2021 Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge. Let's take action and let's get aligned.
Thank you for joining us today for the 2021 Sales and Marketing Alignment Challenge. Alignment requires action. Your challenge to take what you've learned today and work together to put it into action right away. If you've enjoyed the ideas and inspiration you've received today, please take a moment to share this challenge with your friends and clients. Let's all take action. We'll see you again tomorrow.